All this courtroom will determine the future of the Brown family, their heritage, and the truth concealed behind decades of lies. The words rang like thunder through the crowded courtroom. A stunned silence blanketed the crowd as all eyes locked on the woman, striding purposefully forward, Robyn Brown. Her very presence was commanding. A combination of grace, power, and an unmistakable flame smoldering behind her unflinching gaze. For years, Robyn had been the behind-the-scenes force within the Brown family, the faithful wife by the side of Kody Brown, as the others took the spotlight. But now, under the pressure of all those decades on her shoulders, she would no longer stand silent or in the background. Today was her day to strike back. The courtroom was charged with electricity. Pressmen wrote furiously in their notebooks. Cameras clicked and murmurs spread through the crowd. Kody Brown, head of the Brown clan, the man who had lived their lives for so long, sat at the focal point of it all. His face mask-like, utterly unreadable. His jaw was clenched tightly, betraying the turmoil churning beneath his calm face. Besides Kody, the other wives, Mary, Janelle, and Christine, sat vigilant. Eyes betrayed their intricate blend of emotions: fear, sadness, fidelity, and in some, a reserved hope for reconciliation. The unspoken family dynamics that had long seethed were now bubbling over in this courtroom, in the harsh spotlight of justice. By Mrs. Robyn Brown's side was Jessica Harper, her lawyer, a razor-sharp woman equally as fiery. Jessica's assertive rapping on papers shattered the strained silence. "Your Honor," she stated firmly, "this is not a matter of land or dollars. This is a matter of decades of accomplishments by Mrs. Robyn Brown, accomplishments that have gone unheralded for too long." Judge Marcus Reynolds, a seasoned man, and one with a good reputation for being fair, pushed his glasses up onto the end of his nose and coughed. His voice was steady but commanding. "Mrs. Brown," he stated, "explain to the court in your own words why you have made this claim." Robyn drew a deep breath, the years weighing upon her chest. The courtroom held its breath. Then, quietly but stubbornly, she started. "For years I gave up everything for this family," she added. "Not out of duty, but out of love. I believed in our future together, in the dreams we share, in our home. But now, after all these years, my rights and my voice have been extinguished. This land, this house, is not just a plot of land. It's the future of my children, their safety, their stability, their inheritance." Her gaze swept over the courtroom, meeting Kody's firm eye for an instant. "I'm standing here to fight for them, to fight for me, to fight for the respect I deserve after giving every ounce of myself for years." A silence fell over the room. The naked truth of Robyn's words pierced deeper than any courtroom argument. She was no longer an abstraction on a reality program. She was a woman asserting her rightful place in a family and a heritage she had worked to create. Jessica Harper nodded in agreement and moved forward to bolster Robyn's voice. "Your Honor, the facts we will bring forward indicate that Mrs. Brown was more than just a wife. She was the pillar of the Brown family. She took care of the house, catered to the children's needs, made contributions financially if needed, and was a constant pillar during times of difficulty most people never see." Jessica's words were accompanied by respectful nods of assent and some doubting frowns from the other side. Riley Stone, the lawyer defending Kody, stood quickly. He was calm but authoritative in his tone. "Your Honor, Mrs. Brown's commitment is not an issue, but the facts are clear. No legal marriage, no legally binding documents assigning her rights to this property or the family resources. This relationship was entered into of their own free will by all parties. There is no lawful reason for this assertion," Jessica answered quickly. "Legal papers don't always reveal the whole tale, Counselor. We will demonstrate that Mrs. Brown's place within this family, emotional, financial, and physical, was crucial and warrants legal consideration." Judge Reynolds observed the exchange intently. He recognized the complexities before him. This was not a simple case of property rights, but an intensely personal, emotional struggle. Robyn's tone grew softer, yet her determination was not budged. "I never sought titles or documents," she said, "because I trusted the family we created. But trust isn't enough when children's futures are on the line. With the opening statements complete, the courtroom turned to the evidence phase, a phase that would reveal decades of anecdotes, sacrifices, and secret wounds. Outside of the courtroom, the media explosion happened. Fans and reporters argued over the drama unfolding online and on TV screens, waiting to see whether Robyn Brown would finally get a say, and whether the Brown family's complicated history would be altered forever. Inside, Robyn sat in silence for a moment, gathering courage. This battle was about something more than an acre of ground. It was about respect, dignity, and finally shattering the silence that had held her so long in its grip. The courtroom fell silent with a charged stillness as lawyers prepared to make their arguments. It was more than just a matter of land or money. It was a struggle over years of secret sacrifices, deferred promises, and familial devotion put to the ultimate test. Jessica Harper, Robyn's fiery attorney, stood tall and faced the court. Her voice remained steady but was laced with conviction. "Your Honor, this case is really about valuing Mrs. Robyn Brown for what she is worth. She did more than just live with Mr. Kody Brown. She was the pillar of this family. She took care of the house, raised the kids, and gave unshakable emotional support during difficult times that this family didn't often let cameras see." She paused, allowing her words to register. Robyn's work was above and beyond the norm. She put in her time, her effort, and yes, even her money to keep the family intact. And yet, in law, she's treated as if all that never happened. The courtroom rustled quietly. For most observing, it was the first time they had heard such a strong recognition of Robyn's behind-the-scenes work. Riley Stone, Kody's attorney, rose to refute. His voice was professional but adamant. "Your Honor, Mrs. Brown's devotion to her family cannot be denied. But the facts are what they are. There are no legal marriage certificates. There are no written contracts. The title deeds are still in Mr. Brown's name. Mrs. Brown is a partner by choice, not by law." He looked at Kody, whose face was still impassive but watchful. The lifestyle was entered into voluntarily by all concerned. "We are here to enforce the law, not to rewrite it on the basis of emotional demands." Emily Carter, the prosecutor who is backing Robyn's case, replied rapidly. "Your Honor, the law is not blind to reality. Courts have acknowledged common law relationships and equitable interests in such cases as this. Mrs. Brown's decades of sacrifice and partnership deserve legal acknowledgement. Her exclusion from ownership is unjust and harmful." Jessica Harper next presented evidence in their favor. Bank statements revealing Robyn's contribution to family expenses and development on the property. Witnesses from neighboring houses testifying to her organization of the family's day-to-day life. And photographs of Robyn participating actively in family functions, school activities, and community service. The witnesses followed. Christine Brown was summoned to testify. As one of Kody's other wives, her word carried some authority. She testified sincerely, but cautiously. Robyn was always present when the children needed assistance. When the family was struggling financially or emotionally, she rose to the challenge. She didn't only support Kody, she supported all of us. Her voice cracked slightly as she described the emotional cost these years had taken. Then there was Janelle Brown, her eyes on Robyn. "We have all sacrificed," Janelle said. "Robyn's, though, were great and usually underappreciated. It's time that what she did is recognized." Robyn's eyes teared up. The court had evolved into a theater not just for legal argument, but for the public display of profound old family hurts. As the trial drew to a close, Riley Stone tried to discredit the testimony, calling it emotional appeals instead of legal evidence. But Jessica Harper was not swayed. "This isn't about legal documents, counselor. It's about justice and fairness." Judge Marcus Reynolds watched intently, measuring every word, understanding this case would establish a precedent, not only for the Browns, but for families like them across the nation. When the gavel at last came down to adjourn the court, the air was electric. The war of facts was just getting underway, and the courtroom was on the brink of even more revelations yet to come. The room was still heavy with tension when Jessica Harper, the attorney for Robyn, stood up once again. This time, her voice had a stiffer edge, as if she was about to rip away the curtain from the family's secrets. Your Honor, Jessica started, we are now ready to introduce evidence that unveils a darker aspect of this case, an aspect of manipulation and broken promises. The judge leaned forward in interest. Jessica requested the court clerk to bring in a stack of papers in a folder. These are private communications between Mr. Kody Brown and Mrs. Robyn Brown. Emails and text messages that were obtained with permission. They present a very different picture from the one that Mr. Brown's defense has been presenting. A silence fell over the courtroom as Jessica started reading excerpts aloud. You know your worth to this family, Robyn. But the law won't acknowledge it without the proper maneuvers. I want you to remain silent for the time being. It's best for all concerned if things are seen to be business as usual. Your role is with the family. Yes, but the property and resources, that's a different story. The courtroom gasped. Even Kody's normally stoic face twitched with an instant of discomfort. Jessica addressed the judge directly. These letters demonstrate that Mr. Brown was well aware of Robyn's efforts and expectations, but withheld legal acknowledgement intentionally to control the situation. This was not a partnership founded on equity, but one of psychological manipulation. Kody's defense attorneys tried to object, but Judge Reynolds held up a hand. Go on, he told him firmly. Robyn sat in stunned silence, memories overwhelming her. The long nights of Bill worrying, the constant juggling act between family and sacrifice, the bitter silences when she wondered if she had a role in the family. Jessica went on. Your Honor, this case shows us the emotional price of this agreement. Mrs. Brown's quiet was purchased with promises that were never fulfilled. This court is not just to look at the paperwork, but the human story behind it. The prosecution brought forward witnesses who spoke of Kody's controlling attitude, the stress it had placed on Robyn, and the way that the family's public facade concealed private suffering. Even some of the strongest supporters of Kody whispered with doubts, their allegiance shaken by the accumulation of evidence. Judge Reynolds nodded somberly. This court is aware of the complexity here. We shall consider these revelations carefully. As the court adjourned for the day, the media went haywire outside. Front page headlines blazed. Brown family secrets revealed. Robyn's quest for justice. Robyn emerged outside, flanked by blinding camera flashes. She didn't smile or say anything. Instead, she breathed in deeply, preparing herself for the rough ride ahead. Her battle was no longer just legal. It was about personal survival. The courtroom was in a somber hush as Robyn Brown took the stand. Here was the moment everyone had been waiting for. The moment that she would finally speak for herself, not through lawyers or witnesses, but with her own voice. Robyn breathed deeply and stood, her face set but her eyes glinting with feeling. She walked to the microphone and surveyed the room, her eyes steady despite the burden of so many staring back at her. I didn't come here to ruin my family, she started softly, her voice shaking just enough to betray the pain behind her placid face. I came here to defend what's mine, what's ours, my children, their future, their well-being. Her words lingered in the air, laden with unvarnished truth. For years I believed in our family. I believed that love and loyalty would be enough to protect us. But love isn't always enough when promises are broken and voices are silenced. She paused, swallowing hard, her hands gripping the edges of the witness stand. I gave up so much, my time, my career, my dreams, to hold this family together. I raised kids, ran houses and bore loads no one noticed. I did it for love. But it's time the court noticed the truth. The court was transfixed. Even some of Kody's allies shifted uncomfortably in their seats, the passion in Robyn's voice piercing decades of uncertainty and silence. Jessica Harper led Robyn into the questions carefully, helping her remember the years of emotional pain, the times that she felt invisible, and the crushing hurt of being refused legal status for everything she had given. Did you ever feel valued and respected by the family? Jessica asked quietly. Robyn's eyes welled up with tears. Sometimes. But mainly I felt like a stranger in my own house. The defense lawyer attempted to challenge her, asking questions about the nature of their relationship and Robyn's choices. But Robyn held her ground. This was more than just a lifestyle choice, she stated softly but firmly. It was my life, and I should be heard. Judge Marcus Reynolds listened intently, sensing the rich human narrative behind the legal conflict. This court will balance all the evidence with care, he added. This case, at its core, is about justice, not property, but acknowledgement of a woman's life, her sacrifices and her legacy. As Robyn left the witness stand, the courtroom was swept with empathy. For the first time, her narrative was no longer one of controversy. It was one of a woman reclaiming her dignity. Outside, journalists hummed with newfound respect, and watchers at home sensed the authority of her testimony. A testament that behind every courtroom fight is a human story worth hearing. The courtroom was full again, the air electric with expectation. Weeks had gone by since the tearful depositions, the fiery debates, and the revelation of tragic family secrets. Now, all eyes awaited the moment that would seal the Brown family's destiny once and for all. Judge Marcus Reynolds appeared in the courtroom, his face solemn but calm. The courtroom grew still as he settled into place behind the bench. Upon thoughtful consideration of all evidence, testimonies, and legal positions, he started. This court acknowledges the valuable contribution Mrs. Robyn Brown has made to the Brown family and the Coyote Pass property. A whisper swept through the court. While official legal documents concerning ownership are absent, the judge went on. This court determines that the emotional, financial, and physical sacrifices Mrs. Brown has made are considerable and worthy of legal acknowledgement. Robyn leaned forward, her heart racing. Thus, Judge Reynolds stated, Mrs. Robyn Brown is hereby awarded partial ownership of the property, assuring the security of herself and her children, and paying tribute to her contribution to the family tradition. Relief and astonishment flooded Robyn's countenance. She had struggled for years to be seen and heard, and now the court had finally recognized her value. Kody Brown's face was mask-like, but a glimmer of respect showed in his eyes. In the courtroom, even some of the other wives seemed visibly shaken by the verdict. Jessica Harper smiled gently from where she sat beside Robyn. This isn't just a legal win, she said softly. It's a win for truth and justice. As the gavel came down, the courtroom cleared out. Reporters pressed for quotes outside, but Robyn just paused to inhale the sunlight pouring in through the windows of the courthouse. She thought of her kids, their future finally set. The long struggle was ended. Yet another began. This was more than a tale of land or law. It was a tale of a woman who would not be silenced, who struggled for her dignity, and who regained her place in her family. And now the Brown family, messy, imperfect, yet irrevocably bound, stood at the threshold of the future with a newfound sense of possibility.